And welcome to a special spooky Halloween episode of the Out for Smokes podcast, where we talk about the horrors of the satanic state of Israel. Once again, we're back. And much like The Exorcist, the government of Israel seems to be possessed by demons. And much
Mike
like
is like Vicky
and
Valancourt.
much like
He's like
who's that?
The Waterboy's girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
You know, where you're like, you mean well, but you're like, let's kill everybody, and you're like, no, it's okay. You don't remember Vicky Valancourt?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Mike's going to be the first Italian man in Hezbollah.
I was thinking it's not a bit that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, I
to
was
join Hezbollah.
I was trying to do research if they let white boys join.
Yeah.
You got to be a really crazy white boy to join Hezbollah.
Well, I was just on Wikipedia. They said Hezbollah was founded in like 92
Yeah.
to resist because Israel invaded them also.
Mm-hmm.
They just fuck with everybody.
Yeah, they've invaded Lebanon multiple times.
Well, yeah, and then they stayed too long in Lebanon. Is that what it is? They just stayed in Lebanon, and then so Hezbollah was like, get out?
Right.
Is that what's happening?
Hezbollah means the party of God. I know
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
They're a Shia Islamic party, and they also have a military wing, which is, designated terrorist, but they're pretty popular in Lebanon just because they fought Israel and beat them in 2006 when Israel invaded then.
So let's just talk about where we're at. We're going to continue our coverage of what's happening in Gaza. Let's see. I've seen a video of a kid with his face blown off who was still alive. I've seen a baby who was crushed to death by rubble. A baby that was literally flattened.
Everything you're saying sounds horrible, Mike, but would you be willing to promote and say that is a good thing on the internet for $2,000 US?
No, I don't think so. And let me tell you something. Nobody needs $2,000 more than I do.
I need $2,000 so bad. Can you guys explain the $2,000 thing? Is there an email going around? Is that real?
So I was going to ask you guys. Where do you want to start with today's episode? We can start with like
talk about how Halloween party was ruined.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
How we don't even get to dress up as bloody things this year because
right.
you go, oh,
So
what are you supposed to
insensitive.
be, rude motherfucker?
Literally. Yeah.
So thanks. I don't get to enjoy any horror movies. Pet Sematary is my favorite.
Yeah.
Is my favorite horror movie.
Uh-huh.
I don't. A kid back from the dead is all I want right now. I
Yeah.
wish there was a fucking Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. That's messed up in Pet Cemetery where the kid gets hit by a truck.
Yeah, Stephen King is like an absolute freak.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm a good guy. It's like,
yeah.
But you put so many
I
awful
actually don't like
visions
Donald
in our
Trump.
head. I think the first kid I ever saw die was because Stephen King wrote a book.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, who were you mad at this week?
Well, if the influencer thing is, there was an email going around from Bring Them Home, which is an organization like you've seen the Israeli hostages. They put up the missing posters like around New York and London.
Let's be clear. They're all dead. They've all been blown up by bombs, okay? So stop kidding yourselves and stop crying because your government killed them all.
Wait, is that true yet?
We don't
Probably.
know. Gaza or Hamas, they've said like 50 some of the hostages died. There are 200 or just over 200 hostages.
Yeah. I was talking to Johnny before the show. This effing, because we can't, when can we curse, Johnny?
It's a 10-minute mark.
10-minute mark?
Oh, did I curse already?
I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, I hate that bleeping it out, and then and then they go,
Yeah,
"What are
yeah.
you not, George Carlin?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But
Whatever.
this effing horse about the hostages, everybody crying about the hostages, they've been blown up. And I tell you what, this last Friday I read a book by the Honorable Norman Finkelstein. I got this audio book. It was like a 4-hour audio book.
Can you stop saying
He was
you
gonna
read a book if it was audio?
Why?
Just because it's not reading a book. You
Audio
listen to a
books.
guy read his book. Just say that.
Right.
I know it's a long sentence, but it's what you did. You
Are
didn't
you
read a fucking book.
an audiobooks isn't reading guy?
No,
you better not be.
I think it's reading.
It's reading. How
I mean,
is it not
Scott
reading?
is right.
Because
that
reading is a very literal thing that is very different than listening. It's a completely different experience. It's why they're different things.
Well, most
Yeah, but that's
importantly,
the thing that stupid people say. Oh,
No, I
audiobooks
understand
aren't
that,
books.
but then when you
Audiobooks-
think deeper, you go,
I
oh,
don't-
actually, the stupid people are right about that.
No, I don't think so. Because I think,
Dude, just say I listened to an audiobook. You didn't read a book, though.
if you're so why don't you go tell a single mother who doesn't have time to sit down and read that
Dude,
she's
there's
not
nothing.
reading?
No,
go tell a single mother that.
She listened to an
You're not
audiobook.
reading?
No, just say you listen to audiobooks. That's awesome. Yeah, and you listen to audiobooks. That's great. You don't read though.
Yeah, but you're.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
But what's the difference?
Well,
reading literally does so many different things to your brain than listening does. Just period. It's a different experience.
But you're absorbing.
It's like what's the difference between watching a movie and listening to a movie?
Yeah,
it's two very different things. They're different senses.
All right,
I think gotta explain senses to the guy.
This is a conversation,
and then you're gonna listen to his opinions on fucking. Come on.
This is a conversation for another day, I think. This is a separate argument. I don't feel like having this argument right now.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about something we agree about.
It is
and
true.
it's about the hostages.
It is true that you listening to audiobook does not disprove the rumor that you're illiterate. So if you actually read the book, then people would not believe you're illiterate.
Yeah, but I tweet like 30 times a day.
You have Deborah. You dictate your tweets to Deborah.
I go. Hey Siri, I got something to say.
Yeah.
You're like, Deborah, could you do that picture from The Godfather 2 where I'm telling Amy Schumer to kill herself in a bathtub? I'm visiting her in prison and telling her to commit suicide.
Can you do that picture from The Godfather 2, or I'm telling Amy Schumer the killer? Do you want to send it or change it?
Do not send it, Siri.
This is like if you catch the first drafts of Mike's tweets, they all look like that.
Yeah.
And then he has to go in and Deborah has to fix them manually.
Yeah. But anyway, so if it makes you happy, I listened.
Yeah, you listen to an audiobook.
Which I just think
it's
it's
awesome,
so.
man.
I just think it's.
No, I think
fat.
the listeners appreciate that we spent 5 minutes on that.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
The debate about audiobooks.
No, that's why I don't want to have this debate. We Scott and I have to agree to disagree. We have better stuff. We have better stuff planned for this episode. But
well, do we want to talk about Bring Them Home?
Yes, the hostages are all dead. I'm sorry to tell you.
We don't know that.
We don't know that. We honestly, there's posters of hostages around my neighborhood. It's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bummer. If my grandmother got kidnapped by Hamas, I'd be bummed.
Sure.
I'd be putting up posters.
Yeah.
I'd be being like, oh, what can we do to get this,
Yeah.
I'd be bummed if my government started immediately bombing the people who kidnapped them. Like, you don't even know where she is.
Yeah. No, they're carpet bombing the place.
Yeah.
And they've killed at least 50 of the hostages, according to Hamas. But, by bombing. But the posters, like, just putting them up in New York City or London, I mean, that's very much emotive to just try to get people to not care about they're bombing Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody in New York or London is going to be like, oh, fuck, that's the person from the poster.
Right.
I thought they were in Gaza.
Oh, Hamas put them in my basement, actually.
I thought they were in Gaza, but they're in a Panera Bread.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Nobody noticed. So I better call the number.
Right. I saw her at Sweet Green.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, no, it is just emotive. And so, there have been, like, people getting filmed tearing them down online, which, like, I don't care about one way or another, but they're trying to, like, dox and get people
Sean
fired.
wants so badly to date a girl who tears down these By the way, Sean's outfit, if you're watching, we were all supposed to dress up for Halloween. Oh, wait, I am dressed up. Okay, sick.
Some girl's tearing down a poster, and Sean's like filming her, and she's like, "Yeah, what? You gotta put this on the internet." He's like, "No, I actually want to ask you to dinner."
Yeah, he's jerking off to it later.
Yeah.
No, I'm a pervert. I'm not trying to out you. I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
There was like a really like a Mina baddie lady in London filmed taking down the pictures. So I almost tweeted that. Feel when no Mina baddie who rips down pictures of Israeli hostages girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, the Egyptian woman who was yelling at the press on the border.
Yeah. No, that's different though.
No, I know. I'm bringing her up though. I think I'm in love with her. Probably.
She's beautiful.
She is beautiful.
She's cute,
Yeah.
Not, and this is not objectification. This is Middle East, North African women are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. Every single last one of them.
Yeah. I got a soft spot for Jewish women, I have to say.
Hmm.
And not like Bar Raffaele Jewish, like not like supermodel, but like that's my beer. That's my beer. You just put your mouth on it.
Well,
Can you look up Bar Raffaele for me? I'll look her up.
She's like she dated like Leonardo DiCaprio. She's like a very like standard. You're not like sick, are you? I can drink this.
No, I'm fine.
She's a pretty, Sports Illustrated model. You can look that. John, you want to pull up Bar Raffaele for the boys?
She's gonna have like 40 Instagram stories about the missing hostages.
Yeah, literally.
Wait, Leonardo dated Raffaele?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
That's sick.
You know, she's getting up there, but she's. But I don't.
So he dated her
My
in like
point
the
is-
early 90s,
early
is what
90s,
you're saying?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But my point is,
She looks older than 24.
I like Jewish women who look like they work at a nonprofit.
That's a good look.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So there's an organization.
Jewish women are beautiful too.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
Is that
beautiful.
how? Maybe that's how we should decide the conflict, listeners.
Well, Arab women are also. I mean, I've had some guys in my DMs being like, you're an idiot." But then I go, well, there's a lot of Arab girls with big tits that are thanking me, also in my DMs. So just so you know, just so the listeners know, if you defend Palestine publicly, you will get big-titted Lebanese women in your DMs being like, thank you
Right.
so much. And I can't have sex with any of them because
Yeah.
I'm madly in love with my beautiful wife.
Of course.
They're all scamming. They're scammers.
No, the
It's all fishing.
the God.
Mike's giving out his card information. Thinking he's donating.
Why do you want to help the children of Gaza? I just need your social security number and your home address. Yeah, absolutely.
No, but like you were saying, Mike, the Gaza war is horrible. But on the positive side, Rania Khalek followed me back.
Oh, yeah?
So
Great.
yeah, well, actually, she did before.
Nice.
But you know, speaking
what
of
is-
beautiful Lebanese women,
Oh, I don't know what she looks like.
oh, she's very attractive. And a great journalist too. But
Yeah. You heard it. If you want to,
I'm not interested.
if you want to email us,
I would never.
Please, Rania, outforsmokespot@gmail.com.
Interview her next week.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would love to have you on the show. Maybe we'll get a drink
Over
before.
a candlelit dinner.
Right.
Maybe the three of us can take you on a date.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a little.
No, the only potential guest
Yeah.
I'm willing to have sex with is Norman Finkelstein. If that's what it takes to get him
Well,
on the
he's
podcast.
actually not a potential guest because
Well-
you have a big mouth.
And we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that, but there's a good chance.
There's
that-
no way he
No, I
actually
don't think
listened to the
that.
podcast.
But but if he did, I think that would hurt our chances of having him. See, because now it makes it harder to ask him to do the show. Because now I'm scared that he's going to listen to the show.
Right.
You know?
What if you say, hey, this is how bad I want you to do the show? You know what I mean? And you offer him a little something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell him we do the show at a highway rest stop?
Yeah, we'll do it under the Brooklyn Bridge.
We record in a men's bathroom stall.
Listen,
And
listen,
we
listen,
tap on the guest
stop.
book twice.
No disrespect. We don't mean any disrespect to the. Did we mention him by name
Well, yeah, we did. Yes.
this episode?
Yes, this episode we did. There's no reason to edit it out. Nobody's going to listen to this.
Yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine.
Nobody
people listen-
listens to this podcast.
Yes, they do.
Those are fake numbers. We all get together and we
everything's fake.
we do fake hits. We have a bot army that does fake hits to just kind of like keep Mike from killing
You
himself.
guys just love self-sabotage
And believing-
so much. I started a podcast with two of the funniest people I know, but also two of the biggest failures that I know that can't not get in their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we should tell
And
them.
I get in my own way.
Sure.
But you guys get in your own way way more than I get in my own way.
Yeah.
No,
you
that's not
guys-
true.
I think you guys are way more self-sabotage-y than me.
That's funny. I
Johnny?
mean, I think that's
Who
very funny.
self-sabotages the most?
I won't even comment because I'm in a good mood, but that's very funny.
We all self-sabotage equally?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sure.
We should just
But
tell.
I mean, Mike needs like an intervention probably.
we should just tell the listeners that we have emailed Norman Finkelstein,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent us back a form because he has like 3 people working for him. Sent us back a form to fill out. We filled it out, and then we didn't hear anything. But I'm going to follow up after this episode. So we will. But if you are listening and you happen to be friends or just know him at all,
Yeah.
feel free to vouch for us. Say the Out for Smokes podcast would be a great place because we'd love to have him on to talk about Israel Palestine.
We just did that other bit. Anyway, whatever. You know what?
Right.
It's fine. I'm sure there's.
If you know him, recommend the podcast, but do not suggest he listen to it.
just be like it's only on Rumble or something.
He seems funny enough to laugh at it.
Oh, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Is he?
He's great. Like I posted this on Twitter, but there's a story about him on YouTube about his interaction with Christopher Hitchens before Hitchens died. And so it's just this guy interviewing Norman Finkelstein for his latest book, and he's telling this story of being in Washington D.C. and seeing Christopher Hitchens, and they go out to get a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't usually smoke, or I stop smoking, but it's like, how often you see Christopher Hitchens, go out, have a cigarette with Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
So Hitchens asked him what he's been doing, and he says, well, I just started up a publishing company. And Hitchens asked him, who are you publishing? And he says, Norman Finkelstein. And he sees like Hitchens like sigh and exhale, and he's like, well, is there some bad blood there? And Hitchens goes, well, you could say that things have been on a downward trajectory since he advocated for my murder on his website. And then he asked Norman Finkelstein about the story.
Yeah.
And the story is that...
Was he just being dramatic?
No, the story is that, as Norman Finkelstein tells it, on his website, so in 2008, Christopher Hitchens was waterboarded for Vanity Fair, to find out if it was torture.
Right.
And after he got waterboarded, he says, yes, it's torture. So Norman Finkelstein writes about that on his website, and he says, hey, Hitchens apparently didn't know waterboarding was torture. So could somebody shoot him twice in the head so he can find out if that's murder?
Nice.
Yeah, which is like...
Yeah.
Because you don't know if waterboarding is torture. Well, you don't know if getting shot in the head twice is murder either.
Why are all these people so like thin-skinned?
Yeah. But it's just like... That is... because Norman Finkelstein's 69 years old, but that just tells me, in a way, like other intellectuals like Michael Parenti or Peter Dale Scott, he understands the internet.
Yeah.
In a way like those others of, his generation or just before don't.
Yeah.
Because the internet is about making death threats.
Right.
Like, that's back in 2008. He was
Yeah.
using his website to tell his fans to go shoot Christopher
That's not
Hitchens
even
in the
like,
head.
yeah, but that's not even. It's like a joke.
It's a funny joke.
You're gonna be all like.
I thought it was
like,
a great story.
You're gonna be like prissy about it.
No. Well, I guess.
No, Hitchens. I'm
Hitchens,
saying. Like,
yes. He's probably
Hitchens looks like a hen. He's dead now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Everybody's just such a baby.
Yeah. But Finkelstein's funny.
Yeah.
And he calls Barry Weiss Bovine Barry.
He does.
Bovine Barry. He says this tweet like, Bovine Barry put on her fuck me pumps for Anderson Cooper.
She says stuff that my uncle says.
Oh, she sucks.
She goes like, yeah, and I was arguing with Ian about if she's intelligent or not. I've been talking to Ian a lot. It's been
that sentient ham is intelligent.
Yeah. It's been not the greatest use of my time, I'll say that. Some people have asked to have him on the show. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, so let's just get into it. There's people dead. We've seen there was an Al Jazeera journalist whose family was killed and targeted. By the way, the guy's family was targeted.
Yeah, that's really fucked up if we want to go there. But maybe we should finish
We've seen orphans. We've seen, like I said, a baby flattened by rubble, a kid with his face blown off, dead kids, all the time. Kids covered in debris. Even the kids that don't die, they're gonna be traumatized.
You know what you sound like because of
What?
your accent? Yeah, it reminds me of after 9/11, you could go. I mean, this is like a year or two later.
Yeah.
And then people would sell merchandise, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you're selling merchandise. Like we got kids with rubble on top of them. We got beheadings. Because his accent is such like a hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But yeah, continue. Go
Yeah.
ahead. This is a news program.
Yeah. But
Well, did we want to start with the Bring Them Home, that social media campaign?
We started talking about that.
We started talking about that, then we got derailed. But there's an email from October 17th that was leaked by one of these influencers who got it. And, it says, Dear whoever, I'm reaching out. It's from Bring Them Home. The subject line is Stand for Peace. I'm reaching out to you on behalf of a global collective of agencies, influencers, and content creators who are coming together to raise awareness about the difficult situation in Israel. As you're aware, the people of Israel are currently fighting not just a war against Hamas terrorism at home, but also in the battle to tell their story to the world. During these times, your voice is needed. Our group has created a library of explainer videos that can be used directly on your platforms with hashtags Hamas is ISIS or hashtag Stand with Israel. Top influencers and creators already supported include Kim Kardashian, Madonna, Gail Gadot, Casey Neistat, Amy Schumer.
yeah, who is that?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Amy
Do you know who that
Schumer,
is?
Kylie
Casey
Jenner, Jerry Seinfeld, and many others. And then blah, blah, blah. Kindly send us a link to your post, and we'll prude to repost and increase engagement. And then these various influencers get like cash offers from like $2,000 to $5,000, or I assume Kim Kardashian
Probably
not as
more.
much of a cheap date as the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's I think it's pretty depressing. Like you have to be like really completely unaware of what's going on to accept that kind of blood money.
Right. So we're seeing all these posts from celebrities where like everybody from Amy Schumer to like Amy Schumer's just posts that are fucking stupid. And then we have, somebody like Brett Gelman who just writes things that are completely. But the stuff that Brett Gelman's writing, it's like it's so egregious that you really can't get mad at it because you go like, no thinking person would construct these thoughts, and I think and it's like they must be getting paid for it. But the post from Josh Gad really kind of bummed me out because that guy is just such a fat pussy.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy. He was in like he played the snowman in Frozen. He's like a short, pudgy actor.
Yeah, he was in Book of Mormon.
He was in Book of Mormon. He's got a new thing on Broadway. But he during COVID he like filmed himself crying because his kids couldn't go to school.
Yeah, he's like if Jonah Hill was a Broadway
He's like
kid
if Jonah
instead
Hill was
of,
like a theater
what
kid.
he was.
Yeah. He just filmed himself crying and shitting his pants because he had to spend time with his children. But anyway, so he writes this post, and all these posts, from Drew Michaels' post to all of Amy Schumer's posts,
Motherfucker.
I knew
What?
Mike was getting it in. I
thought that's
chilling.
why
We're
you
having
were
fun.
pausing
It was
after you said
funny.
Amy Schumer.
Mike is what?
Well, why would I not say?
I self-sabotage.
Yeah.
What do you mean self-sab? What? Like he's gonna help me? He should kill himself.
Mike is.
Mike,
what's going on? The kid has a Halloween costume. At the very least, you bought him a Halloween costume, right? You're not so focused on
so
this.
on Israel Gaza.
Yeah,
I think so.
He just got a sweatshirt on. Couldn't even put on a costume
I
for
forgot
the show.
I forgot we were doing
the Halloween
costumes.
show.
I know. I'm like the
Could have
poor,
had
I'm
a
like the poor kid.
Costume
Yeah.
for the listeners
Yeah.
or the viewers.
He's
But
going to
anyway.
tell Ben that the missing kids posters is candy. Take one. Go take them.
But I just want to get into like because I saw this post. He wrote this post 3 days ago. I'm truly getting tired of having to explain why and how anti-Semites are being anti-Semitic.
This is Josh Gad.
This is Josh Gad. Your Jewish friends are exhausted explaining to you why the rhetoric is completely outrageous, inflammatory, verging on insane. Figure it out or don't. But but stop coming to us to explain away why. And also, there's like dots where he made grammar mistakes that he didn't correct. Because not only is he a fat pussy, he's a fat stupid pussy.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? It's like, living in New York or wherever, you meet all these anti-Israel Jews, and you're like, in your head, you're like, how could anyone hate these people? These are the coolest people ever.
Right.
And then you meet
Like
the
Michael
pro-Israel
Brooks.
Jews.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's why anti-Semites exist. That's why people think there's
I
a
mean, that's
worldwide
way worse
conspiracy.
than saying a
Can we
person's
endorse?
name, Sean.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Can we endorse?
Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
No, there is like a sort of, and maybe we can get into this on the Patreon or whatever, but there is a culture. There does seem to be a culture where it's like it's okay to rent somebody an apartment and then you get mad at them when they call 311 and then you kick them out of the building and offer them money to leave the building and then never pay the money. There's something in the psychology of that type of person.
Well, it's just like, yeah, and just all the kind of aggrievement from these people who are perfectly safe and fine.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to bother you
Right.
in New York for being Jewish.
Right.
You're fine.
Right.
Especially if you live in, like, Greenpoint or...
But what about the International
Slope.
Day of Jihad when they were all going to get killed?
Right.
Yeah.
But it just essentially like, oh, when the army that I support blows hospitals up,
Right.
it's scary that you guys are not like, yay,
Yeah.
go.
That you're not like
go Israel.
That you're not checking in, calling
Right.
and checking in. But so this Josh Gad post is like it seems like innocuous. Stop coming to us to explain away why your behavior isn't what it so clearly is. If you can't figure it out, that's on you, not on us. So it's like this they've killed 3,000 children already with their fucking bombs.
Yeah, we should mention
So
that.
this kind of posting is like it's kind of like being like, after the Iraq War starts, being like, I just want to say that I I love America.
Mm.
I love America because I can be gay here, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I just think stuff like this, it really just like shifts the focus, and it lets people to, it allows people to feel that victimhood that they love so much. And I don't know, it's like what you're doing. If I'm seeing all the dead kids, then you are too.
Yeah. No, and we should just mention, so Joe Biden doubted the death tolls because they all come from the Gaza Ministry of Health, which is technically controlled by Hamas. But the Gaza Ministry of Health, Human Rights Watch is a Western NGO. They've vouched for them. They've said their numbers are reliable. They've used them in the past. But so Joe Biden, had a press conference, and he said, to paraphrase, that he just didn't really know if the numbers coming out of Gaza were accurate. So just today, the Gaza Ministry of Health uploaded a PDF, which, if you're curious, we'll link in the description. If you want to see, it's a PDF, 200-some pages in Arabic, and it's the names, age, ID number of every single Palestinian they say have died so far.
Yeah.
There's 7,028 names as of today, which is more than double the number of dead from last week when we recorded.
Right.
And
Palestine claps back with receipts.
They, just according to Essalal Bijay on Twitter, I'll link to that, but he says that 2,913 of the names of the 7,000 some dead, 7,028, 2,913 are children. So, and that's actually about half. That's about half of Gaza's children. So what that indicates is, like, A, the numbers are accurate. I believe that 100%. But B, they're just carpet bombing the place. Yeah. Like, if you were bombing indiscriminately a place that's about half children, you would probably kill about half children, which is exactly what has happened. So, 7,028 dead so far as of this recording. More tomorrow.
And I want to talk about the human shield thing for a little bit, because somebody posted, like, I was on Twitter and somebody posted this cartoon where it was like an Israeli soldier standing in front of a woman with her baby, shooting at a Hamas guy who was hiding behind a woman, and he had like a baby on his back. So the idea is that, like, oh, well, we're fighting valiantly and these people are using their women
I could see
and children as human shields.
Believing that narrative a year ago.
Yeah.
What's happening the last 2 weeks, it's just very obvious that
see, even Scott understands.
You're being just reckless. You're being reckless.
Yeah.
And to question numbers is fucking insane.
Yeah.
When we see pictures. I mean, you're coming off like real villains. And it's just sad. Yeah, I get sad. Yeah.
But they're acting like this is some kind of like fair fight, where they're acting like it's too.
Well, they're acting like, well, they did that thing on October 7th. And, to people like Josh Gad's point, I mean, Jewish people who are claiming anti-Semitism, I think because it's nuanced in the sense that if every person had to release an individual statement, you have to acknowledge what happened on the 7th is a fucking tragedy and it's terrible.
Sure.
You have to.
Yeah.
But Twitter and the internet is not statements by everybody. It's just everybody throwing sentences and saying a new thing every hour. Yeah. And so to be like, you need to be nuanced, it's like, well, no, in this moment, Palestinians are dying. Yeah. And so let's focus on that.
There's like an urgency.
And the nuance, it's like, unfortunately, shit has hit the fan so rapidly that like there's little room for nuance in a full discussion. In a statement, I think you should be nuanced, or you're fucking dropping the ball and you're a moron. But if you're just like continuing a conversation and trying to get something done, at this point you have to say, okay, Israel, cut the shit.
Yeah.
Not the people, the government.
The government.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. That's all. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cut the shit, Israel.
Well, it's just like there's no way that people are, like I said, writing this stuff without getting paid, I don't think.
Well, and the fucked up thing is they assassinated, like, it really fucked me up yesterday, but Israel assassinated the families of 2 surgeons and 2 journalists all in the same night.
Yeah.
And, like, their families or their wives, this is 2 surgeons, 2 journalists. Each of them, their wife was killed. All their children were killed because their homes were struck. They had evacuated them to South Gaza, which is the area Israel says is safe, but they're bombing it anyways. And, like,
but I want to push back on this idea that it's somehow like collateral damage, or it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that we did that. We didn't mean to, We didn't mean to blow up this house. Even blowing up houses is like, it doesn't make any sense that they're calling these houses and going, hey, we're going to bomb you. So, okay, so if Hamas is there, then aren't you going to be like,
yeah,
hey,
I mean, at this point,
doesn't
they
Hamas
have to
see you pick up the fucking phone?
I mean, again, unless they're gonna continue to blame Hamas for all these civilian bombs, they have to start claiming legit incompetence. They have to be like, yeah, our army is shit. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you look like you're either war criminals or you're dummies. So get on the TV and tell us which one you are.
Yeah, it's kind of always how they've operated.
Yeah, but I would claim dummy at this point. I would be like, we're the dumbest. It's like the Three Stooges over here.
Right.
And then just fucking end it.
Right.
Right.
And I know it's not as complicated, because I know even people go, well, a ceasefire. And it's like, but what a ceasefire means is that things go back to normal. And that is unfortunately probably true. I mean, I don't know how the Gaza Strip can exist how it is. Well, it can't, obviously. It's gone. But I'm talking about the lines of everything. They're obviously going to move forward, Israel, right, and then claim this is like a barrier of security.
Well, Amy Schumer put something in her story, too, because it's like she's also sharing stuff in her story that goes away. It said something like, here's societies that tried to destroy the Jews, like the Assyrians, gone. The Mesopotamians, gone. The Nazis, like, gone. Yeah. And then it said Iran, and then question mark, like implying that like we're going to destroy Iran.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
You want to see the U.S. military fall on its face, an Iran attack, like, for a variety of reasons, like, it's an extremely mountainous country, extremely big country, so it's like you can even...
what is?
Iran.
Iran, yeah.
So if you even pull an aircraft carrier up to the coast, you still got to, like, have an F-16 refuel twice to get to... in midair to get to fucking Tehran from the beach, the southern coast.
Oh, really?
So it's like... It's not easy to bomb. It's extremely mountainous, extremely difficult to invade. They have extremely advanced anti-aircraft, and they control what's called the Strait of Hormuz, which about 20% of the world's oil goes through. It's like this little strait, just like on the tip of Iran, where almost all of the tankers, or a lot of the tankers that go from Saudi Arabia, they have to pass through. So if Iran shuts it down, or just like stations, artillery there or whatever, like global oil markets immediately get thrown into chaos.
Right.
So, which is probably the main reason why we haven't invaded Iran yet, is the Strait of Hormuz, because this came up in the Bush 1 administration. It came up in the Bush 2 administration. Near the end, Cheney actually really wanted to attack Iran, and basically other establishment U.S. freaks had to be like, hey man, you've had enough. You've had enough wars for one administration.
Yeah, the 86 Dick Cheney.
Right.
Yeah.
Time to drive your car home.
Yeah.
Not have any more. But but so yeah, I mean, but that's what's very possible, is the U.S. getting involved, because I think Hezbollah, the more this shit in Gaza goes on, the more Hezbollah, I mean, honestly, is morally justified in intervening, but will be pressured by their constituents and by their members to intervene. And if Hezbollah intervenes, I believe they would beat Israel. Yeah. And I believe the U.S. has invested so much in Israel as a strategic partner up to this point that we would have to get involved. We would have to start bombing Hezbollah and deploying Marines and all that, which would be a nightmare. I mean,
and that would be in Lebanon.
That'd be in Lebanon. And that's like...
why wouldn't Iran get involved? Am I wrong?
They would have a lot of incentive too, because Hezbollah is, it's an oversimplification to say that it's an Iranian proxy, but they are heavily supported by Iran, so they don't want to see Hezbollah get fucked up.
Iran is kind of like the U.S. of the Middle East in terms of is it true that, I mean, I'm sure Iran, there's terrible things there, but one good thing they're doing I do know about is they're kind of cleaning up Iraq. Like the mess of Iraq is Iran is dealing with it.
Right, because Iraq is a majority Shia country. Though there is so that's one of the consequences of the U.S. invasion, is Saddam was a Sunni, and Sunni power was really kind of displaced by the U.S. invasion of Iraq, and Iran has filled the vacuum to a large extent, and heavily supports the Shia there. Though there are kind of nationalistic tensions between the two nations, but Iran is heavily influential now in Iraq.
I just feel like when you see these posts from from Brett Gelman or whoever it is, these people must be getting paid to write this stuff, because all of the posts they all have comments disabled. And I feel like this must be part of the deal. Like they go like, if you post this about Israel,
weren't you sharing the conspiracy that Drew Michael has a lot more followers since he made the post about Israel?
Well, let me cite this article from Rolling Stone.
True. I mean, Mike.
Let me cite this article.
But I think celebrities do that sometimes because they don't want to be harassed especially on a topic like this.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you deserve to. They deserve to be harassed.
Yeah. I just think it's such a tough call, right? Obviously, some people are getting paid if there's emails going out.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna bite. But isn't Amy Schumer getting? I mean, how do you even prove? How do you prove it? She's,
Well, all I have is this Rolling Stone article. It says, as the bloody war in Gaza rages on, so does a digital struggle for control of the geopolitical narrative surrounding it. Now, a number of prominent pro-Palestine creators and influencers are baffled by a clumsy campaign to get them to support Israel on social media. On Wednesday, Issa Twame, a Palestinian-American musician who goes by Twames, has nearly 4.5 million YouTube followers, tweeted an image of a brief he received via email from an Israeli grassroots group called Hostages and Missing Families Forum, writing, emailing to someone who is literally Palestinian is crazy, especially in an age of information where you can clearly understand who has been wronged for decades. The document requests participation in an online campaign to, quote, raise awareness of the difficult station in Israel and the, quote, war against terrorism with the use of the hashtags Hamas is ISIS and stand with Israel.
Damn, they really knocked it out of the park with that Hamas is ISIS.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so.
That shit is ass.
How do you even argue?
That shit, and I saw Joe Biden be like, he's getting like Russia involved, and it's just like, and Putin, and you're like, dude, what a bomb! Like
he goes Hamas and Putin.
It feels like he's trying to translate it to the dumbest people in the world. Like he's like, this is like this. Like he's trying to translate, but it's like, no, they're not the same at all, and don't group them together because now they're a team.
I mean, it is fun, like the Biden speech that he made about the Hamas attacks, and it's a paraphrase. It's not exactly what he said, but the implication of what he says was,
he said, "Hey man, I saw 40 decapitated babies."
The implication of what he says is Hamas and Putin are not exactly the same, but they are the same in that they hate us for our freedom and our democracy.
He said that?
I mean, that's a paraphrase.
Yeah.
But he says they are the same in that they both seek to destroy democracy.
That was my aunt's last words.
And it's like, again, this is literally what they fucking rolled out in 2003. They hate us for our freedom, which is, I mean, just the stupidest oversimplification in the world.
Yeah.
Nobody is motivated like, oh, I'm going to go get blown up and leave my family and do a suicide bombing because I'm so mad that Americans get to vote for two corporate parties. It's just like they just talk to us like we're stupid.
In America, they have KFC and Popeyes. You strap a bomb to yourself.
Right.
Yeah, it's that, and another thing that dumb guys say too is they go, oh man, people just fighting over religion again, fighting over whose God is better.
It is not the case.
It's just
But I will say, all the political leaders, when they make their speeches, and our leaders do it too. So I'm like lenient on them, but they bring up God and we bring up our God like way too much that it is all creepy.
Yeah.
Like in this actual speeches, they're always like, and then God will do this, or it's like, and now, but and it's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that.
Yeah.
It feels like very doomy,
Yeah.
End of the world shit.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a group. It's called. It's a group that was founded by the people who have loved ones that were taken hostage, who are dead, by the way. As of a week ago, the forum was pushing for a meeting with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about what he would do to ensure the safe return of their loved ones. He finally met with members on October 15th, but the summit proved contentious as attendees argued about whether a strong retaliation against Hamas should be prioritized over the safety of the hostages. Also contributing to the rocky...
It is so cool that Benjamin Netanyahu hired a guy to go to his press conference and be like, kill the hostages! I have family there! I want you to kill the hostages!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like an Andy Kaufman bit. It's like Bob Zmuda.
Yeah. Well, in this Finkelstein book that I
listened to,
he does kind of argue that that's always been their sort of what they do. Like Hamas will take hostages and then they either they just let them die, or they'll do these 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 raids or whatever where they end up getting killed,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can go see they're terrorists, and then he gets to be like, don't second guess me again.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also contributing to the rocky relationship between the Forum and Netanyahu's government are hawkish comments like those from Israeli National Security Chief Zachi Hanegbi, who said the day before the meeting that, quote, Israel will not hold negotiations with an enemy that we have vowed to wipe from the face of the earth. It's like a we don't negotiate with terrorists type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The group of families accused him of effectively saying that Israel is, quote, abandoning its citizens who have been kidnapped, and had to be personally assured by Netanyahu that this was not the case. Influencer Cara Watson, who is rapidly rebuilding her TikTok presence after being accidentally locked out of her 400-plus follower account when her last phone broke, claimed that a brand she'd partnered with to produce sponsored content, one unconnected to the group advocating on behalf of kidnapped Israelis, quote, really tried to pay me to change my opinion. She claimed the company, which she did not name, sent an email indicating they no longer wished to work with her after she posted a photo from a pro-Palestinian march on her Instagram account. The brand then offered to pay her, quote, basically double the amount that we agreed on if she took down the picture, and publicly announced that she no longer supported Palestine. Watson alleged in her TikTok, which has since been taken down but remains available on X, formerly Twitter. In a follow-up post, Watson claimed she did not personally delete the video. TikTok removed it, but she said, I stand by everything in the previous video. The new video clarified. So, there's a lot of money behind this stuff. I do want to remind everybody that I did see a video of a baby who had been crushed by rubble. These people don't have power. They're bombing their hospitals. They're bombing the mosques. And, people like Amy Schumer get to go on and cry about, being Jewish and anti-Semitism, which is obviously, a very real thing.
It's not a real thing.
Does she post it all
come
about?
on.
Does she post it all about Palestine?
Why would you say that?
I mean, if you're in America, it's not a real thing.
If you're in
Europe, it's not really a real thing either.
No, that's not
it's
true.
more
I
of
mean,
a real
just,
thing in Europe.
It's in terms of like what it define like what a thing is, but yeah, people, I mean, there's anti-Semitism. That's so silly to say. It's like you guys are too smart to say dumb shit. Come on.
Yeah.
In more Amy Schumer,
Yeah.
In more Amy Schumer's A Zionist news, she posted this and then deleted it when she realized it was about Palestinians. It's about logging off, and
I don't want you to log off. I don't want you to look.
I don't
away.
envy those with the ability to look away, to log off. This was but somebody wrote this about. but then she
Prioritize your
deleted it.
quote mental health over bearing witness to genocide.
She clearly only cares about money, it seems like.
And she likes to like have an apple in her mouth and be barbecued over a fire pit.
Yeah.
Those are the two things she likes.
Yeah. And so I just feel like if I can make some predictions, my prediction is that all the hostages are dead, and also that we will find out that she was paid. I mean, I think there's an email right here. I actually texted it to myself, but there's been an email that was going around. But I just don't want to make any. I don't want to. I don't want to be unclear about what's happening. We all know what's happening over there, right?
Oh, sure.
We all know that they're targeting surgeons' families. They targeted a journalist family. So there's not really a. And then she's posting in support of the country that's doing it.
Right.
I think I think more and more about this is gonna come out. And I hope she has to answer for this. Maybe not in this lifetime, but she will have to answer to God. But here's the email that was going around to influencers, where there is an email that mentions her by name. Let me just find it.
Did I already read it?
Did you? You might have.
Does it bring them home?
Yeah, bring them home. During these times, your voice is needed. Our group has created a library of explainer videos.
I literally already read this.
Okay. So top influencers included. Yeah, Kim Kardashian, Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer, yes.
So yeah, we're in a little bit of an information war right now.
We are. We're doing our part.
We're trying to do our part in the little information war that we're in.
I do think, like, we were talking about this off mic, but I do think we've had a slight listener bump, which war is good for business.
Yeah, we're making money off the conflict, which
I guess is
nothing
the
wrong with
celebrity
that.
aspect of it. Is it like a war worth fight? Like, because okay, so during COVID, right, when celebrities released that song, everyone went, "You guys are fucking idiots." And throughout history, we've always said, "You guys are fucking idiots." Every time they try to do something for us.
Yeah.
Well, now this time, we're calling it something else. We're calling them like Zionists, where maybe they're just fucking dumb. Maybe they're the same celebrities that have been dumb this whole time, making statements every tragedy sounding like morons because she doesn't know what she's talking about, just like she didn't know about a ton of things I'm sure she's talked about in the past.
It's hard to excuse this stuff.
No, it is.
I mean,
It's hard to excuse,
it's literally
like
happening, like you can see.
Sure.
Anytime
yes.
you want to go see the bodies, you can see the bodies.
I know, but it's
Right.
so hard to get to go. This is what their intention is. When celebrities have been proven to be fucking morons in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
So why are they not going to be morons on this situation?
I just don't think you.
As opposed to, oh, you're being paid off and you're this. I think someone arguing with you could say,
I just don't think you can excuse.
it's
this
you're
as being
saying like
dumb.
Jews run Hollywood and entertainment, and therefore this is like,
I
as
didn't
opposed
say-
to
I
them
didn't
being.
say that.
I know. I'm saying if someone's arguing with you,
They
you're
could-
saying,
they could say
what's
that.
the incentive for celebrities to do a thing like this when
Money.
but they've done it in the past? Was that money too? When they've been like,
Yeah, but this is like there's evidence.
okay,
here
yeah,
that
but I know, but there's no evidence that it's Schumer, and she's Jewish and been a knucklehead
that
for
e- that
years on
e-
every topic.
That email that I just read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they just referenced her name. I mean, they're just
Yeah, but they
saying
said-
someone's name.
They said creators that we've partnered with.
Oh,
already. It's
okay,
from
okay.
a-
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. Yeah, that's weird as fucking wrong.
Yeah.
We should mention Out for Smoke's
Wait, what is it? Is she's talking about Chappelle?
No, this is someone went to Chappelle's show,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
That's not Schumer talking about Chappelle. Oh, okay. What he said at the Boston show. Isn't that crazy? He's doing a show at an arena in front of 22,000 people. And somebody goes, "Shut the fuck up, Dave."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is white supremacy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
We should mention Out for Smokes is now sponsored by Telegram, the official app for looking at pictures of dead children.
Yeah.
Wait, is
Yeah,
that what,
there's a lot
I don't
of
think
them.
I have Telegram.
Telegram's, I mean, it's like Twitter or WhatsApp, but you can subscribe to different feeds. So there's like pro-Hamas, pro-Israel accounts, pro-Palestinian accounts, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of combat footage, a lot of pictures of dead bodies. And there's even like a really fucked up Hebrew language Telegram account where they just like put pictures of dead Palestinians and make fun of them. Like it really fucked me up. Like they're really evil people. A lot of them in Israel, very evil. But one of them is just like a picture of like a dead kid who couldn't have been more than 14, and something about it's in Hebrew and then it was auto translated to English to something to the effect of like on his way to meet the virgins or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe the virgins will clean him up. Something about those virgins.
Well, that girl, that girl,
Rachel Corrie.
who was
Yeah.
the activist, they
Rachel Corrie was from Seattle, where I'm from, so I actually heard about this in high school, I was in middle school. In 2003, her and some other volunteers did nonviolent resistance because the Israelis like to demolish the homes of Palestinians. Before they did it with the Palestinians outside of the homes. Now they're doing it with the Palestinians inside the homes. But they would, back in 2003, they would have bulldozers, and there are various settlements in the West Bank or whatever. They would just go and they would bulldoze the house, and then they would build a new house, and a Jewish family would move in. So Rachel Corrie was from Seattle. She went over, and the nonviolent resistance was they would just put themselves physically in front of the bulldozers, and you would get the bulldozer to stop because they wouldn't want to kill somebody. But the Israelis killed Rachel Corrie. They just ran her over with the bulldozer.
and they backed over. They backed up over her. Right?
Yeah, they fucking killed her. Her last words were, "I think I broke my back," and she died.
No.
And she's a hero. This is a college student.
The Tiananmen Square guy didn't even die.
Yeah, no, he didn't die. And she has a street
I
named.
heard he
after,
wasn't even Chinese.
Is that true?
street named after her in Palestine. But but somebody was posting something that Israelis did is they would have Rachel Corrie pancake days.
Yeah.
There was like a Facebook group for it.
Yeah.
Where they would just make pancakes with Rachel Corrie's dead face on it.
Yeah.
What in the fuck?
Because they crushed her with the bulldozer.
Who did this?
The Israelis. I mean, some people in Israel.
Yeah, it's just
people in
people
Israel.
being wild.
It's just
as
people
fuck,
being
right?
fucked up. But you
It's
know
like
what?
the Kid
Honestly,
Rock people. It's like the Coors Light shooters.
honestly, I
But
do think
obviously
yeah,
way
but
worse.
it's like
Obviously way
about
worse.
somebody who was trying to sort of like
Yes,
do
it's
the
the
right thing.
people. Yes.
I think-
Somebody who was trying to stop them from bulldozing people's houses. Yeah.
Jesus.
I think the median Israeli is more evil than the median American. I'm okay with generalizing like that. Because like 2/3 of the people in the United States want a ceasefire, which is crazy. 52. I'm just quoting from Matt Karp on Twitter, but 52% of Americans, when polled, say that the U.S. should not arm Israel. 52%. A majority, 66%, say the U.S. should work for a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Over 70% say the U.S. should send aid to Gaza. These are crazy numbers. It's never been like this, especially considering all the propaganda. But, Congress and, everyone in Hollywood with a real career, they don't reflect that. So what I was saying earlier is, like, we've had a slight listener bump, and I don't think it's because we're, like, so good or anything. I just think it's because
People want to hear.
they're all handcuffed.
Yeah.
Nobody can talk about this except for people with some sort of independent platform, because if you're with like CAA or some big agency, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
Like some lady was high up in CAA who did some I think it was an Instagram post about stop the genocide in Gaza.
Yeah.
She had to step down or she had to severely reduce her role in the company.
Yeah.
Nobody with a Hollywood career can talk honestly about what's happening, even if they do support Palestine. The most they can do is kind of ask for a ceasefire, which 2/3 of Americans support, but they can't just be honest, which is Israel is doing a genocide. This is what Norman Finkelstein says.
Right.
The guy who studied this for 40 years. And I mean, God, the fact that they assassinated the family members and that we just found out about yesterday.
I saw a video of that guy's kids before they
wife
died.
I should just
They made a video and they're like, "This is Gaza. Like, why the world has kind of turned its back on us." And then the guy goes, "Yeah, those kids are dead." But I want to talk about that for a second because I think that there's this idea that like, oh, you can't speak. It's there's a lot of Zionists there's a lot of powerful Zionists and everything. But I think that like. So social movements like change really fast. Like people's opinions change really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like if you worked for like Citibank 20 years ago and you were like, let's put a rainbow, let's celebrate Pride Month, you'd be like laughed at.
Mm-hmm.
And I for some reason, maybe I'm optimistic, but I kind of see Free Palestine being a mainstream thing.
I think,
in like 5 or 10 years.
I think, I don't think you're going to see it at Target because it's not like an American thing, and so I think the companies are smart enough to stay out of it this time.
But people like to get behind.
But that is true. That is true. But I do think, what a lot of people should do is. They need to, Zionist types, they need to, like, take a step back and go, like, oh, I was informed different, or I was miseducated and I'm looking into this more, or at the very least, what's happening right now is wrong and you can't support a government that's going this far, and therefore we must do this. And then there's going to be less of this, like, you're anti-Zionist, that means you're anti-Semitic, and you're, and people won't get yelled at for, Dave Chappelle didn't say shit, if you want to read what he said.
Yeah.
Well, I think people are going to be horrified once the body count comes out. I think everybody's going to pretend they didn't support this at the time.
Yeah.
But, we talked about the UN says Gaza needs 100 trucks of aid every day.
Yeah.
Joe Biden said he'd get 20 through as an initial Israeli thing. They allowed 8 of the 20 trucks through. And that was only once. And now the IDF says they won't let any more trucks through. They've come up with an excuse. They say because the UN wants to deliver fuel so that the generators can work, so that the hospitals can work. And the IDF says, why don't you take the fuel from these fuel tanks we have on satellite image that Hamas has? Why don't you ask Hamas for the fuel? And it's like they were always going to think up some excuse to just starve all those people, to kill them with dehydration, which, you'll die after 3 days without potable water.
And what's going to happen when these people start like starving to death?
That's the thing. It's like I think Hezbollah will have to intervene then.
Yeah.
But the U.S. sure isn't stopping them. Mm-hmm. And these people are fucking psychopaths. They do want to starve everyone to death in there. Yeah. There is no plan except for just bombing carpet bombing them, clearing them all out, taking the land. And ideally they want to expel them all to Egypt. But if they can't do that, they're just going to keep killing them until there is enough of a breaking point that either Hezbollah or somebody else gets involved and physically stops them, or they just kill, 100,000 people. They could very well do that.
They could very well do that.
Yeah. And when and if that happens, like everybody who's cheering for Israel right now is just going to pretend that they weren't.
Right.
They're
Right.
They're going to pretend.
Well, that's why we got to hold them accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to be, especially if you have a show business career.
Yeah.
Like, we don't. So we can be a
Yeah,
little
but
braver.
neither is Drew Michael when you really think about it.
So, now is the time to not be a coward
Yeah.
for once in your life.
Yeah.
And, just be honest.
Yeah.
You don't have to, if you're not a political guy, don't be a political person, but just be honest about what you see, because
Just be honest about what you
I
see.
think if you're being honest about what you see, you can only really come to one conclusion
Yeah.
about what's happening right now.
And don't be one of those people that goes, I guess I got to post about the thing now. I need to pick a
the
side.
current
Like,
thing.
don't act like you're better than everybody, or you're like, better because you're allowed to read a couple articles and have an opinion. Don't be that guy who goes, I guess it's time to post on social media.
I do wish we
Don't
had
be
like a
Don't be the
year.
social media guy.
I do wish we had a year to really read into it, though. It feels like we're all like taking. I don't want to get the vaccine involved, but like it's like a rushed vaccine of opinions on this situation, where there should be some like more trials, or I don't know, something.
Yeah,
there
but
should be
you're seeing
more.
You're seeing it with your own eyes, though.
For sure. That. But when people start talking about the history, or about when people start sounding like, now you're on the ground, it's like I understand like citizen like news guys or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of like, hey, I'm on Twitter, so I'm now a reporter,
Yeah.
but you're not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I feel like they're going to start like building gas chambers and being like, this is how we get Hamas.
Well, they were talking about pumping
Gas
sarin gas into the tunnels, but apparently that doesn't really work, because the U.S. would have done that in Vietnam or Afghanistan.
They watch Caddyshack. They're like, it doesn't work.
Okay, but anyway, so I just want to say this: these two journalists, two surgeons, while Dowda was the Al Jazeera Gaza bureau chief. He had his entire family killed in an airstrike, his wife and all his children. Muhammad.
How many kids did he have?
I don't know.
Because I saw a video of him holding a toddler. I don't know if that was his kid or.
It was probably his, yeah.
So he had like 3 kids?
So, yeah. Yes. I would assume. I don't know the exact number.
I did see a thing, too, where like some Israeli journalist was on TV and said that his family was targeted.
Exactly, yes. That's the thing, where it's like, first of all, that's what they always do, these fucking monsters. They just kill people's families on purpose, and then they're like, accident, we, misfired. But in this case, the Arab Affairs correspondent at the Israeli News, Channel 13, Zev Yuhez Kelly, there's a clip of him in Hebrew, and what he says translates in English to the Al Jazeera bureau chief's family was targeted.
Yeah.
So that's one of the 4,
Yeah.
where you have like a journalist, an Israeli journalist with connections to the Israeli military and sources there saying, they targeted the family. And he only says this in Hebrew on the Israeli TV. They will never say this in English for an American audience, but they deliberately targeted the family of the Gaza bureau chief. But the exact same day that his family was killed, Mohammed Farah is another journalist. His family was killed, wife and his kids. Mohammed Alron is the head of surgery at the Indonesian hospital in Gaza. His wife and all his kids were killed. And Moyad Alron is another surgeon at that same hospital. His wife, all his kids, all killed. So the same day they like targeted all 4 of and there might have been more, but those were just the ones that I found. Targeted all 4 of their families, killed their wives and their kids. I mean, this is Nazi shit.
Yeah.
There's no hyperbole in saying that. This is just evil for the sake of evil. These are 2 surgeons and 2 journalists that they're killing them just for being in Gaza and operating on people, or being in Gaza and showing the world what's happening in Gaza. Where the Secretary of State, Joe Biden's Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, it leaked that he asked the Qatari PM to make Al Jazeera tone down their coverage, because Al Jazeera is like partly funded by the Qatari government, and they have a lot of reporters on the ground in Gaza, and the Israelis are getting mad because that's the main obstacle to their genocide, is just the world seeing what's happening there. So after Anthony Blinken tells this guy to like make Al Jazeera tone it down or stop like showing these images from Gaza, the Israelis decide to murder the family of the Gaza bureau chief for Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're supporting Israel, like, last chance to fucking get on the train to save your soul.
Yeah.
Last chance, to just go like, you know what, I fucked up. This is
Yeah.
pretty messed up,
Yeah.
and we need a ceasefire.
I have a question because I was in fucking middle school. But looking back after 9/11 and going into, I mean, especially Iraq, right? I mean, how many civilians did we kill? Like, did it look as ugly as this in certain areas, and we're not reflecting on it, or no? There was kind of like I don't know, an assessment of where civilians were, and they weren't targeted.
In Iraq, most of the killing was we kicked off a civil war because, like the Shia and the Sunni militias just started mass murdering each other. Like Baghdad got ethnically cleansed. We're just like, both sides did it, but, you would just have like one morning or every morning you would have just, a half dozen dead Sunnis in the street when the garbage men come around, They would just like go and just like find the Sunnis or find the Shias, depending on the area, and just either kill them so the rest leave, or just So the U.S. Army military certainly killed a lot of fucking people in Iraq, but most of the deaths were as soon as we knocked over Saddam's army and then sent all the police. Paul Bremer sent the police and the military home instead of using them for like security. He just fired all of them. And just like made all these people unemployed with military experience. Of course, they all became, insurgents, or they became militia members or leaders or whatever. And so it was kind of just us destroying the security situation caused all these deaths, which, I mean, estimates go up to 1 million, but at least, 500,000 in Iraq, at least.
Saddam was just the iron fist holding it all together.
Saddam was a good dude.
Yeah.
That was what we've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read about there's this famous photo of this Palestinian kid who's throwing a rock at a tank.
Yeah.
And it's this famous Associated Press photo of this kid. He was 14 years old, and like a couple weeks after the photo was taken, the Israelis shot him through the neck and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 14-year-old kid just throwing rocks at tanks.
A couple weeks after the photo?
Yeah.
What,
No,
they
not
were hunting?
Israelis. It was the Iraqi army, right?
No. The Israelis shot him
Oh,
dead.
really?
But why the kid's name was Faris Odeh.
Oh,
And
okay.
why Saddam is a good guy is I learned that he, as was his custom, sent a check for $10,000 to the kids' families after the Israelis shot him dead.
Wow.
So that's what we've learned. It's like Malcolm X said, the media will have you hating the people
Right.
who are on your side and have you loving the people oppressing you.
Right.
The media will have you hating Saddam Hussein and Hezbollah.
Uh-huh.
They are actually the good guys.
He's not in
And
hell. He's
they're the
not
ones,
dating Satan.
They're the ones who are on your
That's
side.
what I was taught.
Yeah.
But wait, okay. So he gassed his own people, or is that
He
not
gassed the Kurds, yeah.
true? Okay.
I mean,
well, that's
and
that's
he-
bad. Hey, maybe he is in hell.
He also had this purge. He took over the Ba'ath Party, and he had this purge where he like brought every member or every high up person in the Ba'ath Party together in this conference room, and then he started like reading out names of people he said were traitors, and they were taken out of the hall, and then he made the people he left behind participate in their executions. Like they were taken out in the hall and shot, but then kind of his innovation was he made the people that he spared participate in executing the people he purged, so that they're like, we're all in this together now.
What the fuck?
And there's video of him like smoking a cigar while he like reads out the names, and they're like dragged out of the hall.
Ew.
But I mean, definitely one of the gooder guys in history.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
compared to America,
Yeah.
and the United Snakes of America, and isn't real.
What is happening?
Isn't real.
I think Sean's dating someone.
Yeah.
I think Sean's starting to dress
Sean's got
different.
a
I don't
new
think this is a Halloween
girlfriend.
costume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You meet Sean's girlfriend, she's just wearing like a hijab.
We never said, but what, Mike, do you have a guess for our Halloween costumes?
Yeah, you're Oppenheimer,
That's right.
and you're Donald Trump.
No, I don't know. I just put this on. I had this years ago.
Yeah.
He's a prison.
What is this?
jumpsuit.
What does this mean again? Department of Corrections.
Corrections.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to the Patreon.
Wait,
Join-
wait.
I was
Oh.
walking with my ex-girlfriend once. We'll talk maybe some more about this stuff, but also
Yeah.
Halloween. Here's a little Halloween story.
Yeah.
One time my ex was wearing this. I don't know if I bought this for her, if this was mine, but anyway, she was wearing this one year. We were walking the kid down the street, and some fucking guy jumps out and he's like, "Oh, DOC, I was in the pen," and he starts like hitting on her, and I'm like, "Okay, we're good," and he's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck's your problem?" He starts like fighting with me,
Uh-huh.
and then I got yelled at later
For what?
Because she was like, the kid was there. You're not supposed to be like, hey, we're good. Just let him be rude.
Yeah.
But I was like, what kind of hitting on a person is that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're an inmate? I've been to jail.
Yeah.
Get out of here, mister. I'm
you
sorry
gotta-
for asking you to leave us alone.
Gotta open with women with things you have in common, I guess.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Yeah, that's true. All right.
yeah.
Well, gang, see you over on the Patreon.
Actually, though, my costume, I'm actually Israeli Oppenheimer.
Uh-huh.
I invented like a type of white phosphorus that's even more powerful against baby skin.
Oh, okay.
And then I have regrets because
Yeah.
I
Right.
became death, destroyer of children's hospitals.
I love that Harry Truman quote about Oppenheimer where he says, "Don't ever bring that fucking freak into my office." Ever
Cry,
again."
baby.
I don't wanna hear that cretin.
Yeah. I think, he called him a crybaby.
What'd you think of the movie? Did you see it?
I really liked
You
it.
really
Yeah.
liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I don't want to spoil it.
Well, if you're going to the movies, please invite your friends who have children. We like movies too. No one, ever invites us to things, but
Oh yeah, I really.
yeah,
I'd love to-
I want to see Killers of the Flower Moon, but I
Yeah.
do not want to see Killers of the Flower Moon.
I don't want to. It's just so much.
Yeah, it's like
It's
I want to be able to go. I'm actually out. Like I want to do 2 sittings of it. We should.
Yeah,
If theaters want more people in seats,
yeah.
you should be able to pay for like seeing half a movie and then coming back later to see the rest of it if you feel like it.
Yeah,
That'd be sick, right?
yeah.
You said Movie Pass? Thank you, Johnny.
Let's head over to the Patreon where we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, we got a teaser on the Patreon. We've got a special exclusive guest,
we
the
do.
man who just had a shooting spree in Maine and is on the on
Oh,
the
we didn't
run.
even talk about that. Yeah,
is
let's
a
talk about
fugitive
that
from
fucking
justice.
guy.
He'll be joining us on the Patreon, making his way to New York.
We also have a little review of a comedy show from a friend of the show that we want to read on
this is what
here.
the Patreon's gonna be now.
Yeah,
Just Mike trashing comedians.
I did
He's-
find a review of one of our
mad axe.
friends. I did find a review of one of our friends' shows. We're gonna talk about Halloween costumes. Whatever
He admits
else,
he's
so-
a friend.
So
Yeah.
we'll see you over there.
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com/OutForSmokes. Thanks for supporting the show. We're at 1,000 patrons,
Yeah.
which is a big deal.
Thank
Means
you.
a lot. Never thought we'd get there.
Love you all.
But yeah, people want to hear.
Yeah, looks like we made it.
Looks like we made it. Thank you for all your support. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week or over on the Patreon. Bye-bye.